Dear students, it's my first class the with you, the students of HSC first year session 2020-21. It would be better if I could meet you in a classroom, and the effectiveness would be much better because online classes and especially the recorded classes, we do not have any interaction with you. English classes have to be interactive. Students will actively participate with their teachers so that they can have a good result from the class. So let me first introduce myself. I am Abdullah Al-Matin. I am Abdullah Al-Matin, Associate Professor of English. I have been serving in this college since May 2013. And it's a great pleasure to meet students in classes. But here I do not have the opportunity. In the meantime, we have already met three of your teachers, Saurabh Murshid Khan, Salauddin, Sravanti, and Nuzrul. Actually, 4 teachers. There are 6 teachers in the department. And after me, our head of the department, Professor Deepak Kumar Kormukar, will take classes. Today, I will read to you a poem written by W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats. The name or the title of the poem is The Lake Isle of Innisfree. You will find it in the unit titled Peace and Conflict in lesson 1, which is titled Definition, Causes and Types of Conflict. What does the word definition mean? The word definition means to define something. And what is defining? Defining is to draw out a term in a way so that the reader or the hearer or listener can understand what the term means. Causes means reasons, and types of conflict. Conflict means a kind of situation in which 2 or more parties are of different opinion, which may lead to fight even. So let us start the lesson 1, definition, causes and types of conflict. As warm-up activity, we see there is a question and something also written to warm up your brain What is your view of peace and conflict? Write 5 words that come to your mind when you think of peace and 5 more when you think of conflict. You can at least write down some synonyms or synonymous words for peace and 5 more words for conflict. It would help you to develop your vocabulary. If you do not have the synonyms in your mind now, you can look up the word in the dictionary or thesaurus so that you can get the meaning as well as find the synonyms of these 2 words, peace and conflict. In this lesson, there are 2 poems written by 2 world-famous poets, W. Yeats, William Butler Yeats, and W. H. Auden. So let me read out the first paragraph given at the beginning of the lesson. Here are 2 poems that speak of man's desire for peace and the inevitability of conflict or war. W. Yeats, within parentheses, 1865 to 1939. That means he was born in the year 1865 and died in the year 1939. W.B. Yeats was an Irish poet whose early poetry showed a yearning for love and peace, and who found in nature a refuge from the ugliness of city life. What does this sentence mean? W.B. Yeats was an Irish poet. The people or the citizens of Ireland are called Irish, as we are called Bengali or Bangladeshi, as we are the citizens and people of Bangladesh. In the same way, as a born citizen of Ireland, Yeats is called an Irish. He is a very famous poet. He was a friend of Bengali great poet, Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. They were very close friends. You must have heard that the preface to the Gitanjali, the book for which Rabindranath Tagore was awarded Nobel Literary Award. The preface to the Gitanjali was written by W.B. Yeats. And he was the nominator of Tagore for the Nobel Prize. He put forth the name of Rabindranath Tagore for Nobel Prize for Literature. The W.B. Yeats showed a yearning for love and peace in his early poetry. That means he was very much interested. His zeal was for love and peace. As he was a great romantic poet, even he is often called the last of the romantics. And as Other great romantic poets, Yeats was also a seeker of peace and love, and he found peace and love in nature. He took refuge to nature from the chaotic city life, the ugliness of city life. Ugliness here is not meant for the simple meaning of ugliness. Rather, it is referred to as the chaos and intrigues prevailing in a city life. He was not happy with the city life. Rather, he wanted to find peace in the lap of nature. The Lake Isle of Innisfree is one of his very celebrated poems. Though it is a very small poem, gives him the promise of some peace of mind. In this poem, we find W.B. Yeats is aspiring, is cherishing to get peace of mind living in the Isle of Innisfree. So there is a lake in England, in a county, and in that lake there is an isle. Isle means island. And he thinks that living there, he would get peace of mind. Let us now come to W.H. Auden. He was born in 1907 and died in 1973. W.H. Auden was an Anglo-American poet who became famous for his stylistic and technical achievements and for poems and plays of exceptional depth and feelings. He was not only a poet but also a playwright. That means he was a dramatist also. What does the word Anglo-American refer to? Anglo means Anglo is an adjective of the word English or England. Anglo-American. That means he was born in England and left England for America, and there he spent the rest of his life. But actually, the later years of his life he spent in Hungary, and where he died. And he is famous because of his stylistic and technical achievements. The style he used in his poetry and dramas was exceptional. He introduced a new format, new machinery of presenting thoughts and ideas in his poetry. And for poems and plays of exceptional depth and feelings. His poems and plays express the depth of his thought and feelings. He wrote about love, war, religion, politics, and problems of modern man. He wrote about love, war, religion, politics, and problems. As a modern poet, he was very conscious of religion and politics. And the problems of modern man. Soon after the end of the First World War, people encountered newer problems. Of modern life, and after the Second World War, the whole scenario of the modern man changed. Man became very much selfish, self-centered, and man always looks after himself, and he always looks for personal gain. And this drive for personal gains actually brings about conflicts among men. And it creates different problems. And these problems are mainly psychological problems. As you are now growing up, soon you will face many psychological problems. And often you have to fight within your own self regarding these psychological problems. And here is we have a specimen of W.H. Auden's poems on wars. This is September 1, 1939. It is an indictment of all wars, particularly one that was looming over the world in 1939. In 1939 was the period of onset of the Second World War. 1930s was a period in which the whole world, especially the industrially advanced countries, faced economic depression, and the creation of superpowers like Soviet Union, the United States of America, and earlier superpowers were Germany and Britain, the Great Britain. Let me read the poem, The Lake Isle of Innisfree. First, I'm reading the whole poem, and then I will explain it to you. Take your textbook and try to follow what I read. Without the text, you won't be able to understand what I say. The Lake Isle of Innisfree by W.B. Yeats. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 beams rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the big loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always, night and day. I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core. A poem containing only 12 lines. Here, W.B. Yeats has used I iambic meter, and it is the often used metrical system of English poetry. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree. Notice here the use of I. That means the speaker of the poem speaks in the first person, and it it can be the reader or the poet himself. Actually, here we find Yeats to be the speaker of the poem. I will arise and go now. I will, not shall. Yeats emphasizes here at the very beginning of the poem by using will. I will arise, as means get up and go now. Now here is also used to show the urgency of the poet, and go to Innisfree. He will not linger, he will not delay his journey to Innisfree. And a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. Sorry. And a small cabin. Cabin is a small house, often having a room, some place for cooking, and washing. And that small cabin will be built of clay, will be built of earth, mud, and wattles. Wattles like Nolkagra of our country, with the sticks made. In our villages, we often see jute sticks are bound together in a flattened way, and then we put on jute sticks clay so that wind cannot enter through the uh, jute sticks. The cabin will be like a hut, as our kure ghor in Bangladesh. And there you will have 9 bean rows. Will I have there? 9 bean rows will I have there. The poet wants to have 9 bean rows. Bean, a kind of vegetable. This vegetable in our country we also eat, like seam, borboti. Seam and borboti are also beans. So there are several hundred types of beans throughout the world. In some places, bean is used as staple food also. 9 bean rows will I have there. A hive for the honey bee. To sweeten his food, he will use honey. So he needs a hive, beehive for honey bee. And live alone in the big loud glade. And he will live in the island of Innisfree, alone, all alone. There will be no companion with him, and he wants to live in the loud bee swarming sounds in the glade. Green, open space with green grasses, grassy land. In these 4 lines make the first stanza. In prose, we say paragraphs for smaller sections of a larger article or essay or write-up. In poetry or in poem, each of the smaller sections is called stanza. Stanza, stanza. Notice the rhyming of the first stanza. First line ends with E. It is free E sound. Second line ends with made da sound. Third line ends with B E sound. And the fourth line ends with D da sound. End rhyming. The poem is well rhymed. End rhyming is well. Is good. In the second stanza, what the poet says, and I shall have some peace there. For peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. and I shall have some peace there. I shall have some peace there. You should notice in the second stanza, poet does not use will. He has used shall. He uses shall. It shows. Now I'm reading from the second stanza. I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. As I've already said, Yeats uses shall instead of will, and this use of shall the shows he's a bit uh, doubtful about the peace coming. Peace does not come easily; it comes slowly. It needs time, more time to come. I shall have some peace there in the Lake Island. He will have some peace. And peace, some peace, not full peace. You know, man cannot have full peace in this mundane world. Why? Because our peace of mind is related to our psychology, our mind, and in which we can overcome to some extent. But the physical problems that naturally comes does not uh, come according to our wish. Physically, we become old, we become feeble, weak, and we get inertia for which we may lose mental peace as well. Dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings, from where the peace will come by drops, from that place where the cricket sings. Cricket is a large insect. We call it in Bangla Jiji poka. And the and from that place, dream will, peace will come by drops in the morning, the veils of morning. Veils means curtain, from the curtain. That means in the morning, the poet takes it to be a curtain. The total atmosphere appears to him as a curtain, a veil. And from these veils of the morning, when the crickets sing, you will get some peace. Their midnights all a glimmer. The midnight is all a glimmer. That means there will be light of the stars and the moon, and those create a glimmer, and noon a purple glow. In our Bangladesh, noon is usually vibrant yellow or golden, but in the winter, in the cold countries, especially of those countries which are rather in the north, the reflection of the sunshine on nature looks a bit purple. What does the word purple mean? Purple means violet. There, the noon is not as yellow or golden as in our country. It looks a bit purple, a bit violet. An evening full of the linnet's wings. The evening when the sun is about to drop in the western horizon, then the birds come back to their nests. And here, the poet particularly mentions about a small bird, linnet. In our country, we see in the evening when the sun sets, small birds get back to their nests and they create sounds with their beaks and wings. Here, yes refers to the linnet's wings, the sound created by the small birds named linnets. Now, I'm reading the last stanza of the poem. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core. In this stanza, in this last stanza, the poet lets us know the reason for which he wants to go to the lake Isle of Innisfree. I will arise and go now. It is as it is same as the very beginning line of the poem. And why he will arise and go then? Because of he throughout the night and day hears lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. You know, when water waves comes to the shore, it creates low sounds. The lap is tarts. I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. He hear water lapping on the shore and the creation of the sound. And these sounds attract him very much. And this sound he hears always throughout the night and day He also hears the sound when he stands on the roadway in the city roads or in the pavements gray, the places which are paved, which are covered with bricks or stones and cement. The- This line actually refers to city life. I hear it in the deep, harsh cold. You always hear the water lapping sound, not outwardly, also in the very deep of his heart. So now students read the poem again and again. You should use dictionary to look up the words for meaning, the words that you do not know or you have not come across yet. You should consult dictionaries for meaning. And in the dictionaries, you will also find how to use a word in a sentence. It will help you to develop your writing skills. As your homework, try to convert the poem in prose. Try to write down the prosaic version of the poem. It will help you develop your writing skills and vocabulary, which are very essential for cutting good figures in the exams. And you will have to write down a summary of a poem in your exams. So long for today. Take care, and you should use masks while you are outside your home and wash your hands with soap. It will help you be safe from COVID-19. Thank you.
Thanks.